accident, she was dodging me and not answering my phone calls and my text messages.
She had a valid driver's license, correct?
I was to take my driver's test.
But that didn't answer my question. You're a big girl. You don't have a license. You don't drive a car.
This is Judy Justice. Monica Brown is suing her former friend, Vivian Cummings, for car damages.
Court, come to order.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1076, Brown versus Cummings.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brown, you know the defendant for a long time. You rekindled a relationship with her, a friendship with her, more recently, and subsequent to rekindling this relationship with her. According to what I read, there was a period of time when you lived together. You moved into her house.
No, Your Honor, that's been misquoted. I was staying over there to get back and forth to work. I wasn't physically living in her home.
Well, you were sleeping there.
Yes.
To get back and forth to work.
Yes.
And while she was getting back and forth to work and shifts, according to your complaint, and then finally allowed her to use a car that was a second car for you, one that you were saving, according to, I think, what I read, for one of your kids.
Yes, the car had already been paid off, Your Honor.
Okay, and you were saving that older car. You had a different car, but you were saving that car for, I think,
My
your daughter.
Yes.
Ms. Cummings asked if she could use that car. Give me the month and year when she was using the car.
June 2021.
And she was using it to get to and from work. But
Yes.
that was not a problem. She had a valid driver's license, correct?
No, ma'am.
You didn't have a license?
No, ma'am.
Really?
No, ma'am. There's been and also...
Just a second. Okay. Why were you driving a car without a license?
I had just went and had took my driver's test, Your Honor, had passed it, and then November, I took my written test, and then November, I was to take my driver's test.
Well, that doesn't answer my question.
I'm going to answer your question, Your Honor. On July the 7th, the reason that I was driving the car, Monica Brown was taking me to my orientation training at the facility that both her and I work at. She volunteered on July 7th, told me the night of July 6th, you just take yourself. I don't have to get up.
That's a lie.
Just a second. That didn't answer my question.
Your Honor,
You're a big girl.
I know.
You're not 12.
I know, Your Honor.
You don't have a license.
Yes,
you don't
Your Honor.
drive a car.
That's right. You're right.
Were you driving this car before July 7th?
No.
Is that right?
That is correct.
On what day was the accident?
July 22nd.
Not the 7th.
No.
Am I mistaken? What? Did anything happen on July 7th, or wasn't I hearing that right?
She said she volunteered on July 7th, told me the night of July 6th, you just take yourself. I don't have to get up.
Okay, but what does that have to do with July 22nd, when you were involved in an accident?
When I got into the car accident...
That wasn't July 6th or July 7th.
No.
So you drove the car before you had a license,
Yes.
before the accident?
Yes, ma'am.
The answer was yes.
Yes.
Did you know she didn't have a
No,
license?
I did not, Your Honor.
Well, she says that you were supposed to take her someplace for the test, some sort of test, on July 7th. What kind of test was it?
I got recently hired at the company that she works at, too, Your Honor. I was going through the training.
Oh, the training, but had nothing to do with driving.
It was orientation at our job, Your Honor.
Okay, but who cares about the 7th? The accident didn't happen until the 22nd.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever tell her you didn't have a driver's license?
Yes, I told her. And
What weekend?
The weekend of July 7th. That weekend had came. I don't know specifically the date that was.
3rd and 4th would be the week before the 7th, which was a Wednesday.
No,
7th was a
I'm talking
Wednesday.
about afterwards, because I done took myself to work that week. And that Friday came, and I'm trying to have
Would you
Miss
please tell me when you told her you didn't have a license?
The 7th. I mean, on that Friday. On the Friday,
The 9th.
the end of the week.
But you were using the car all week?
Yes.
Without a license?
Yes.
And you didn't tell her?
Yes.
So I'm actually amazed about a lot of things now in this case. You see how things get sort of turned around? Because she was in an accident with your car on July 22nd. Your insurance company paid you out
Yes.
for the car.
Yes.
The accident must not have been her fault, or an insurance company paid you out. I don't understand.
They paid me out, Your Honor, but they didn't pay me the full amount of my vehicle.
I don't care. How do you allow somebody, I don't even know what, if the insurance, I'm going to tell you this right now. If the insurance company that paid you out, and she was driving the car, and she had no license, So you let an unlicensed driver drive your car, they would have they paid you. Do you want to find the quickest exit? Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Well, when you filled out the claim, you had to put in a claim. Did you say that you were driving the car?
No, Your Honor. They spoke with Vivian on the phone.
Oh, well, what driver's license did you give them?
No, I spoke with the agent. I told him I did not have no license, that Monica Brown voluntarily gave me her car on July the 7th.
What insurance company is that? I'm just curious.
Progressive.
Progressive. So Progressive paid out a policy where you allowed an unlicensed driver to drive your car and have an accident. That would be your first for me. You had no business driving with a suspended license that looks to me, based upon this police report,
Yes, Your Honor.
you had a prior conviction for.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're done.
And later today,
Did Miss Harris give you the money to pay the fine so that you could get your license reinstated?
She did. She loaned me the money. And
Okay, great. That's it. Perfect. It's easy.
I love my new home, but it might be too Victorian.
Gosh, interesting hemline on those pants.
At least Geico makes bundling my home and car insurance easy. I save so much.
Pardon me, Your Grace.
Oh, just call me Grace.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Monica Brown claims her former friend, Vivian Cummings, wrecked her car in an accident. Vivian is countersuing for harassment.
Okay, so Progressive paid out a policy where you allowed an unlicensed driver to drive your car and have an accident. That would be your first for me.
Your Honor, that's why I was trying to get in contact with her and to speak with her about the insurance company, because my insurance company said to me that in order for them to pay me out the money, they had to speak with Vivian first. And so I was trying to reach her, but a couple days after the accident, she was dodging me and not answering my phone calls and my text messages until I randomly ran into her into the mall. And I said, did my insurance company call you? She said, yeah. I said, well, what did y'all talk about? She said, well, I told him that I would call him back because I was busy. I said, Vivian, you can't do such a thing like this because this is an accident and this is my insurance company. So therefore, I need to know what's going to happen next, if they're going to drop me, if they're going to pay me out, or what's going to happen. So she said, okay, I'll get with you, friend. I'll get with you in a minute.
It sounds to me, just sounds to me, as if you were aware that she had no license.
I was not aware, Your Honor. If I knew she hadn't had license,
I didn't think that you would let somebody who was unlicensed drive your car, because that would be actually foolish.
Exactly.
But the insurance company paid you on the policy, and you, I assume, had both liability and collision, or just liability?
Full coverage, both.
Okay, and they paid you the value. What did they pay you?
$4,100, yes, $4,100.
Okay, and I'm going to look at the policy, but what was your deductible?
$500, I believe.
Okay, so at most you're $500 in the hole.
But I wanted the difference, Your Honor.
I don't care what you want.
Okay.
Because I'm not so sure you didn't know she didn't have a license. And it's a good lesson, because if you let somebody else use your car, you should say to them, can I see a driver's license?
Yeah, and I didn't
Please,
think that she
just a
would be
second.
that old
I don't care
to
what you think.
lie to me about a license.
No, you didn't ask her. There's no question that either you knew or you didn't ask her. Because if you had asked her and she said, I don't have one, then you would not let her use your car. And if you asked her and she showed you somebody else's driver's license, you would have said that to me. So you didn't ask her.
I asked her, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have text messages in my phone where
That's
I
okay.
stated
She's not
to
giving
her.
you any more money. You let an unlicensed driver use your car. You're very lucky that the insurance company paid you out on the
I
car.
was confused
now,
about that as
do you,
well.
Do you have an accident report that indicates that this happened? Do you have an accident report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Who was arrested at the scene?
No one was arrested that I know
Yeah,
of. They took me immediately to
D1.
the hospital.
D1 was arrested for DWS. Here. This is the county DWS. See if you can find out what that is.
Driving while suspended.
So, were you taken into custody for driving with a suspended license?
No, ma'am.
D1 was arrested for DWS, prior conviction.
I wasn't arrested, Your Honor. I was in the hospital.
Did you go to court on this case?
September 1st.
What happened when you went to court on this case?
I have to go back on the 13th, just pay the fee, and I'm done.
So I have a claim, Miss Brown, and you want sort of the difference in money. You want to get your daughter a new car, a better car. The other car was paid off. I suggest you find her a car for $4,000 for what the insurance company gave you. And next time, if you let somebody use your car, make sure that they have a license. You, Miss Cummings, have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Which I am dismissing. And I'm dismissing your counterclaim because you had no business driving with a suspended license that looks to me conviction for.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're done. You're not supposed to drive without a driver's license. Driver's license is not hard to get. You take a written test, you take a driving test. And if for some reason your license is suspended, and it has to be, I think, probably a serious reason, because I know my age, my driver's license has never been suspended. Now, I know her really well. She's been a driver for a while, and she's hit a couple of stationary objects, but she's never had her driver's license suspended. Now, I'm going to turn over to Whitney, who's been driving for 20 years?
20 years.
Ever had your driver's license suspended?
Never.
What about you, Kevin?
Never.
Never. You're getting where I'm going.
I understand, Your Honor. And I was
So
on the
this
right
is what you
track
don't
of doing
do.
it.
This is what you don't do. You don't come to a court when you've done the wrong thing and ask the court for help. Courts are really not interested in helping people who don't do the right thing. So you find your daughter a car for $4,000. We're done here.
Court is adjourned.
The defendant lied to me about having a driver's license.
I told Monica Brown that I had just passed my written test and that I would be taking my driver's test in November.
She called me and she told me she had been in an accident.
Also, so you tell me, where's the friendship at?
She deceived me and she used me.
That's all she's after. She's greedy.
Yeah, thanks a lot for throwing me under the bus out there.
Well, you never know who's watching. But if your rates go up, I'll cover it.
Oh, thanks. That's reassuring.
Case 1063, Harris versus Wilson. All parties, please step forward.
Terry Harris is suing her stepsister, Andrea Wilson, for a loan and the cost of a vehicle.
Miss Harris, Miss Wilson is your stepsister?
Yes.
How?
My father has been dating her mother for about 30 years.
So she's not legally your stepsister?
No.
It is your claim that you've made a loan to her at one point in February
Correct.
of this year, and that was in order to have her driver's license reinstated.
Correct.
And then there's a car purchase.
Yes.
And the car is in your name.
Yes, ma'am.
But it is your claim that it's in her name, but you paid for the majority of the car. And
Correct.
there was an agreement that as soon as you got your license back, she would turn the title over to you and she would pay you the difference.
Or put my name on the title, either or.
Okay.
She didn't either.
Okay, tell me about this loan, this initial loan to get Miss Wilson's license back.
She needed $1,400 to get her license reinstated in California, of course.
When was that license been suspended?
I got a ticket, and I didn't pay for it.
What kind of ticket?
I was driving without insurance and registration.
And is that the only reason that your license was suspended?
Yes.
And that ticket, what you're telling me, increased to $1,400?
Yes, it did.
Did Miss Harris give you the money to pay the fine so that you could get your license reinstated?
She did.
Tell me the circumstances of her giving you the money.
She loaned me the money. And
Okay, great. That's it. Perfect. It's easy. Did you ever pay her back?
I basically gave her a piece of it.
When you start to get jittery in your testimony, it usually suggests to me that you're making it up as it's going along.
Oscar, did you kill him?
Yeah, exactly how it looks. Shark Slayer!
Oh, yeah!
You lied! Everybody thinks you slayed the shark!
Hi.
I love my new home. I always wanted a house with historic architecture, but it might be too Victorian.
Gosh, interesting hemline on those pants.
Yes, I do believe they're called pants.
Pardon me.
No, pardon me. At least Geico makes bundling my home and car insurance.
I have come to call upon...
Just text me. Well, I'm heading up.
It's a ghost.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
It's called self-care.
Terry Harris says her stepsister, Andrea Wilson, is responsible for the cost of Terry's car.
Now, she loaned you the money in February. Did you ever pay her back?
I started to pay her back.
When did you start to pay her back?
After she gave me the money in March, I basically gave her a piece of it at the end of...
So far, listen to me. So far, you're doing fine, because when you do fine, you tell the truth. When you start to get jittery in your testimony, it usually suggests to me that you're making it up as it's going along. She loaned you $1,400 in March. When and in what denominations, if ever, did you pay her back?
I paid her back $200. Then
When?
The end of March.
Did she pay you $200 the end of March?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So now we're down to $1,200. Let's go.
And that was it.
That's it. So you owe her $1,200 on that loan. Well, that was the easy part. Now let's get to the car part. Tell me about the car, Miss Harris.
On March 22nd, I was in Vegas. We
Together?
Yes, in 2021. So in March 22nd of 2021, she was down in San Diego, and she had got her license back, and we needed a car for the household because the car that we had in the household, it broke down.
When you say the household, the two of you living together?
Yes.
Was there anybody else in the household?
Her son.
Okay, and how old is he?
6.
Okay, so you needed a car. You didn't have
Yes.
one good car.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so at the time, I did not have my license because of an issue in Nebraska. So
Okay, so you didn't have a license.
No, but she got hers reinstated. So when she was down in San Diego, we needed a car for the house. She had $2,500. She went looking for a car, found the Honda Civic, 2003 Honda Civic, and called me on the phone and let me know how much it was and how much she needed. I proceeded to Cash App her $2,000, and then I Zelled the rest, which is $1,175 to the to the place for the car, and then I also Zelled $825 to the car place for the warranty for the car, as well, so she could purchase the car and drive it back to Vegas.
How much was the car?
The car in total was
No. How much did you pay for the car?
It's on here. It says $6,875.
$6,000. Kevin, could I have that, please? Thank you.
The bill of gift.
Okay, so it was really $5,800 because in addition you bought a warranty.
Correct.
So you paid $3,157.
Correct.
For the car, and the car is in her name.
Correct.
And you have possession of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid the rest. So it looks like you each paid just about half for the car.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're no longer living in the same household.
No.
Since when?
Since she took the car back on June 3rd.
Do you have a license?
Yes, I do.
And you have a license?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what you want me to do.
She stated in text message to either pay her the money that she put on the car and she would give it to me. And I told her that I had the money to give her for the car. And she proceeded to say that she didn't want to do that deal anymore, that her son needed the car more than I did. And because the title is in her name, that she was going to take it and not give me anything until later. She said, I'll make payments. And I haven't received anything.
Can I see that, please?
These last two.
Okay, thank you.
Car.
Well, no, that was just off the top of my head, but no.
Well,
after everything with the warranty and the car insurance.
Yeah, well, I don't care about the warranty, and I don't care about the car insurance. She each paid about half for the car, about $3,000 for this car. And she owes you $1,200 from the loan.
I don't feel like I should owe her that.
I mean, I gather that you were living together as a couple.
Yes.
And each of you put in about half for the car. And the title is in your name.
Yes.
Well, don't you think that it's reasonable that if you want to keep the car, you give her the $3,000 or half of the money for the car that she put into it? If you want to keep it, you just purchased it in February.
Yes, but I don't believe I should give her the money back because from June of last year until she got her inheritance in February, I paid for everything. When it came to rent, food, basically everything.
Well, that's all right, but there was never an agreement with regard to that. That was something you chose to do. I don't know how else you divided. You divided taking care of your son. I don't know how you divided meals. We don't get into that with people who were not married because there are really no courts for that yet. So what you have to look at is whether or not it's reasonable. And it sounds to me as if between the two of you, it was the understanding that this car would be used for the both of you. And each.
It was supposed to be for me.
How many other cars did you have?
The car that broke down that she was talking about is the car that belonged to me. That was my car.
What I'm asking you is, there was only one car in your household. If one broke down, then there was only one car. That would be a yes.
Yes.
Is that a yes? Okay. All right, let's make this simple. You already acknowledge you owe her $1,200. You want to keep the car?
Yes, I do.
All right. You have to pay for it, as you said you would in here. $4,200. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
I'm glad that I, was able to get some money back and move on with the situation.
I should have won, but,
But I think we'll build and move forward and get past this.
She's a bitter ex-girlfriend.
No more car loans. I learned my lesson.
I'll have a contract this next time.
Perfect example. There are courts that deal with marital property, and there are certain rules. These two people were in a relationship. They're not married. The relationship didn't last. And if you're supposed to share something, I know it's not romantic, but write it out. That would be my best information.
I've seen too many South stories of people not married that don't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, it's in the hands of the courts to try and determine what's equitable and fair.
And the courts don't want to deal with it.
No.
No, there are no rules set up. Anyway,
Writing.
This.TV.
Continuously. What kind of nut does that?
This is Judy Justice. Asia Richardson is suing spa technicians Tasha Cole and Mercedes Lally for false advertising, unwanted injections, and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1100 Richardson versus Cole Lally.
Thank you. Miss Richardson, you went to the defendant's spa for what you call a bit of a makeover. And it is your claim that the defendant, one of them, injected you in the buttocks with a foreign substance, which was not consistent with the service you thought you were going to have, which was a sort of a body reshaping, whatever. You want to be compensated for that in the amount of $8,000.
Not just that.
And the fact that they made you feel bad.
Yeah, she came to my house.
Well, you'll tell me about that.
Okay.
Okay, so how long has your spa been in existence before that?
I'm an agent manager with United Healthcare for 8 years.
What specific training did you have to open up a spa?
So me and my daughter, we did a lot of research. I was already doing cosmetics.
Research is not
sure.
training.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, this is your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your last name is Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to tell me what specific education you had and training to open a spa.
So we have a certification in radio.
Certification from whom?
From District Institution. They're out of Houston. I do have certifications here if you want.
Just a second. Where do you live?
Minnesota.
Did you ever go to Houston?
No, actually the trainer was training out of Detroit, Michigan. So me and my daughter drove up there about 10 hours away from Minnesota.
How long did you stay there?
We stayed for almost a week.
So what you're telling me is your sole training for opening up a spa was a 5-day course that you and your daughter went to and got some certification from someplace in Texas?
No, ma'am, it's Detroit, Michigan. It's on top of multiple trainings. Okay. So there's different levels to body sculpting. So we started off at the basic level.
I want you to tell me, other than the 5 days training you had.
Oh, sure. I had advanced butt lifting training.
Advanced body lifting training?
Correct. Yes. So we do classes online.
You opened your spa in 2019.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me the only training that you had was online training, other than the 5 days that you spent in Detroit?
Correct. So it was multiple trainings that I took over the years.
And that gave you a certificate?
Multiple certificates.
That 5 days?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to show it to you. Yeah, thank you. This is the most ridiculous thing I ever saw in my life. Be it known that the Discrete Laser Institute, in recognition of the successful completion of theory knowledge and hands-on training practicum, and by the virtue of the authority vested, has conferred upon Tasha Cole, in recognition of successfully completing the non-invasive advanced body contouring and skin tightening, circumferential reduction, and improvement of elasticity of the skin ultrasound, radio frequency, and mechanical modalities, with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining. In testimony whereof, the signature of its duly authorized officers are hereunto affixed. My doctor of laws wasn't as wordy as such nonsense. Would you look up this organization, please? Such a lot of who shot John. What is this?
So that's a certificate to be able to perform hyaluronic pin on top of a needleless injection for the stomach and buttocks.
Where does it say you're allowed to give injections to anybody?
So it's in that training, like all of the training we get, it's in the paperwork. That's the certificate that these scalpel trainers give us, which are certified trainers. You can look those up as well.
She's looking it up.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Okay. You went to their organization. You were unhappy with the way the procedure went. You say that you got an injection of something, and then you got very upset with them, and you had to go see a spiritual advisor. So you want not only your money back, but you want $8,000. Well, that's not happening. And you want the rest of the money for her contract because she didn't come back and she signed the contract, and plus damages for threats and defamation. And you acknowledge, at least in here,
This is done by a Hawaiian pen, which is forced air, so there's no needles. We also sew all of the items that we use to our clients.
all right, you wanted a different kind of body. Can I see the contract that you signed? I'm going to make this a contract case. Contract, who has it?
I have it, ma'am.
Okay.
All I can find is a form online to sign up for this online program for non-invasive med spa business. Looks like you fill out the form, pay a fee.
How much is the fee?
It depends on what class you're signing up for, but online instructor's class, $1,200, online basic class, $350, but I can't find a website for the institute itself.
There's no website for the
Just this form with a phone number.
They're in where? Detroit?
Detroit, Michigan.
Look in Detroit, Michigan.
I'm sorry, ma'am. It was a training course that she actually went to this location, so it was multiple ladies in our training class.
Just want to see if they do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
You messaged her at 1 a.m. When again did you message her?
It was continuous. I was just asking about the
Just a second. What kind of nut does that? And then tells me messaging her in the middle of the night?
Asia Richardson claims spa technicians Tasha Cole and Mercedes Lally owe for unwanted injections during a spa treatment, causing her emotional distress. Tasha and Mercedes are countersuing for an unpaid invoice, defamation, and personal threats.
So you signed this contract.
Yes.
This is your signature on here.
Yes.
You signed up for a course of treatment for an eye lipo procedure. The purpose of that spot fat reduction is either to improve cellulite, bust to breast enhancement. I'm aware that clinical results may vary, blah, blah, blah. You signed a contract for a course of treatment, $350, 5 treatments totaling $1,400, 5 sessions, balance due $1,050. Advise client to set up next appointment for butt needle shots 10 days from 6/10/2021. 4 sections left on the package. You filled out this form. You filled out this waiver form. Do you understand that? Do you want to look at it?
No, I'm fine. I don't have to look
Fine.
at it.
You signed it.
Yes, I signed it.
Tell you what it says. There's a specific statement in here that says that needles are involved. Specifically, injectable serums. It says in the contract.
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I was in a rush and I did
Well,
not
that's
read
not my
it.
problem, madam.
I understand that.
Yeah, that's not my problem that you didn't read the contract.
But for the mommy makeover, which,
No, this isn't a mommy makeover.
but that's what we initially agreed
I don't care what you initially agreed on. The only contract you have is for this, unless you have another one to show me. That's the only contract that you have.
Okay.
What you say in your complaint was you went to their spa, you were on your stomach, you felt a needle go into your buttocks. You weren't there for that. You were there for some sort of a mommy makeover. What you signed in this contract is specific and outlined in this contract. And it does provide, though I think crazy, but it does provide for injecting serums. You had an opportunity to have an allergy test for a serum. I mean, they're not going to give you an allergy test, madam, if they're going to give you a bouquet of flowers. They're going to give you an allergy test if they're going to either inject you with something or put on a material on you. You signed it. You waived any patch test for allergies to the serum. Do you want to read what you signed?
No, that's fine. I believe what you say.
So I'm trying to figure out what your case is.
So her terroristic to my
Tell
son.
me, just a second. So you went to the spa on what date?
June 9th.
And you got 1 treatment?
Yes.
And you paid for the 1 treatment?
Yes.
When was your next contact with either of the 2 defendants?
Well, I contacted them the day of, just to make sure that we were doing my stomach and my breast next. And then,
Okay, so first they did something on your butt, and then you contacted them to find out if they were doing another procedure.
No, the same. I asked for the mommy makeover. We both
Forget
said-
mommy makeover.
Okay.
This is the written contract you had with them. You signed it. Now the only thing I'm listening to are these terrorist threats that you say that they made against you, and when did they start, and about what? So right now you had a procedure, and then you were supposed to call back about another procedure. Tell me about the threats.
So the threats came after she kept calling my phone 5 o'clock in the morning with my son asleep. And then after the second time, I didn't answer. After the third time she called, I answered. She's yelling, woke up my son, and I said, what is wrong with you? Where's your daughter? Why are you yelling so loud? I have a child, you have a child. Let's be adults. Do not call me. Stop calling me, because it's gonna wake my son up.
Can I ask a question? Did you call?
Referring to me, not my mom.
She's referring to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you call her?
No, ma'am.
No.
I have paperwork.
Could you
I have paperwork.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Who is this? I need my papers today.
Me. She refused to give me a copy of my contract.
I see missed call, and then 5:23 a.m. audio call.
Yes, she called me 2 times.
Well, how do I know that that's her?
It says her name at the top.
Where?
That's her Facebook name.
Your last name is Lally?
Yes, ma'am. And yes, that is my account, my Facebook account.
I don't understand this, Sarah. Explain this to me.
Okay. So this is the defendant's Facebook account.
Right.
So this shows here at a little bit before 5 a.m. 2 missed calls. And then the plaintiff answered at 5:23 and had a 1-minute conversation. After that conversation, she sent this text.
The plaintiff sent that.
Sent this
I need
text,
my
papers today.
Okay. Now, do you remember that?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay, so go.
All right, the only reason why I didn't say, I just called her, because that's kind of how she was trying to make it, I just called her randomly. I did make a phone call to her so we could speak over the phone because she was misunderstanding my text messages.
Well, why did you call at 5:30 in the morning?
I didn't call. She was already texting my phone at 1 o'clock through 4 a.m., threatening and sending.
May I see that?
Yes. And if I'm able to
just
put it in order for you.
Yeah.
Really quick. And then my witness as well. She was terrorizing.
No. I just want to see why.
I know, I don't want you to get confused because
I'm going to try, and Sarah is
I'm going to make it very understandable for you because, again, this is very confusing.
Maybe I can make it less confusing while you're looking. Miss Richardson, she's looking through to put this in order. Did you call her at any time between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. the morning where she called you at 5 o'clock in the morning? Did you call her? That's what she's looking. You didn't have any contact.
She did not call me.
You didn't have.
I messaged her.
Just a sec. You messaged her when?
1 a.m.
On that morning.
I didn't reply until 4 a.m.
Don't
Sorry,
help
Judge.
me. You messaged her at what time in the morning?
1 a.m.
You messaged her at 1 a.m. When again did you message her?
It was continuous. I was just asking about the
Just a second. What kind of nut does that? And then tells me that she's a nut. She called you at 5 o'clock in the morning when you were messaging her in the middle of the night?
Well, she was online, and I just had questions before.
Okay. So what did she say about that?
And she was texting me. She sent me a whole paragraph on how she wasn't happy with, she didn't get the services she wanted. She was basically belittling what they were doing.
I don't want to hear basically. I want to know what she said.
Asia Richardson has accused spa technicians Tasha Cole and Mercedes Lally of unwanted injections during her spa treatment. Tasha and Mercedes say Asia defamed their business and threatened their family.
Forget threats. You understand?
I did not threaten her.
No, just a second. What you said to me was she started to call me at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said, you finally answered her and said, how could you call me 5 o'clock in the morning? My son is sleeping. You're a mother. I'm a mother. And I said, that's true. Why would somebody call somebody unless they were harassing them at 5 o'clock in the morning? And then it appears that you've been messaging her from 1 o'clock in the morning on. Then it makes sense calling you 5 o'clock in the morning. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I was just asking about a product.
I don't care what you were asking about. I don't care what you were asking about at 1 o'clock in the morning. Continuously. Okay. I don't care.
I did not.
I don't care.
Threaten.
What you made, she called to harass you at 5 o'clock in the morning. And what you now acknowledge in being confronted by it, you started to message her at 1 o'clock in the morning.
But not
continuously.
Not confrontational.
Oh, please. You have no case. Get a life.
All right,
now,
I'm
let me
getting
go
it together
just a
right
second.
now.
Just a second. I'm getting to this counterclaim. I'm actually not interested in threats, harassment. I'm not interested in any of that. Okay. You have something here, punitive damages for defamation.
Yes, ma'am.
You say that she defamed you. How and to whom?
It was actually on Facebook and also to a client.
Don't tell me unless the client's here.
The client is here.
Okay. So first let me see Facebook, and then you can step over.
Please.
Okay. Excuse me. First let me see the Facebook. Kevin?
Yes.
I want to get the
get it
Facebook
from when
post.
she first texted me, ma'am. Sorry.
I've tossed out that part of her case. She has no case.
Yeah, exactly. I want to
Just
show you where she was threatening me.
I will. First, I want to get to defamation.
Defamation. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's just do the defamation then.
So I just want to say, it's okay for her to say she's going to post my body on Facebook.
Listen to me. Say goodbye. Your case is over. It's finished. Read your contracts next time. I remind and initialed. That's what you're supposed to do.
I have no case.
You're supposed to read a contract that you sign because she's suing you for the balance on this contract.
Okay.
Next.
Can I add something, Judge? So the reason why those messages are unavailable is because I was getting messages.
Don't tell me the reason they're not available.
Okay.
If I don't see them, they're not available.
She deleted them all.
I don't care. They're not here. You're here to testify that she made defamatory remarks about them to you. How do you know her?
I provided services for her. I'm a tattoo artist, so I knew her, through my business.
You provided services for her outside of their business?
Yeah, so I just knew her already. She had questions about because I'm a client of theirs too, so she came to me with questions about them at one point. I answered them, sent them their way because I had good results. I had a good time.
So what did she say about them to you?
Well, she called me at about 4 a.m. She was texting me. She sent me a whole paragraph on how she wasn't happy with she didn't get the services she wanted. She was basically belittling what they were doing.
I don't want to hear basically. I want to know what she said.
Okay, so...
Was she texting you?
Yes, she was texting me and calls. She deleted them all.
Oh.
That's the only
you
thing
were
I
able
have.
to do that on Facebook?
Yeah, you
Very
can delete
good.
messages.
Okay. You sit down. The balance on her contract?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Balance on her contract is $1,050.
Yes, ma'am.
She refused to give me any more services.
After I was threatened.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Very
Oh, so you were...
Absolutely.
Fine. Then,
I did not threaten her.
whether you threatened her or not, she says, and she acknowledges that she refused to give you services because I was going to award them on their counterclaim the $1,050 pursuant to a contract that you didn't read. But if you refuse to give her services, then I can't do that. Okay? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Your claim is dismissed. Goodbye. So is your counterclaim. Goodbye. Be happy.
Lying is
Be in love with yourselves. Read a contract before you sign it. Have a happy life.
You leave your evidence.
Judge Judy.
Leave your
Thank
evidence.
you.
I mean, it's what it is.
It's absolutely just disgusting that we had to shut down our whole spa to come here.
There's like big mosquito bites, like around one cheek, and then like they itch really bad.
So yes, you will have mosquito bites from the needle injections, and those are aware.
I'm not sure what they used.
At the appointment, you will be told that, and she was told that, and she had no issues.
There was not supposed to be any injections.
So they're not needles, it's air. We're just using pressure.
Air. We're just using a hyaluronic pad to force air into the dermal skin.
I looked it up, and she said, this is all that I'm doing.
We sanitize everything. We do it right in front of the client. We're very, very safe.
They never told me, they told me it was natural. Natural to me means no injections, no needles.
I always say, hey, do you understand what you're signing today? She clearly understands. She wanted a deal.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
She tried to go back to my daughter and get a deal. We don't do deals.
Sarah Rose, lesson to be taken away from that case is?
Contract, writing only.
Read it.
Oh, that too.
Read it before you sign it.
Yeah.
Because you're bound by it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. And I also wish there was some consistency with regard to regulations, of what kind of training you need. Because, well, we didn't go into that here because there was a contract and it was a contract case. I would feel more comfortable that somebody who was going to give me injections had some sort of training.
I tried looking into it, certain Minnesota statutes where they're from on med spas and regular year to year, state to state, county to county even. So I agree, it needs some sort of uniformity, especially when it's something that could create, in this case, some sort of allergic reaction or bad after effects. There should be regulation on that.
But at the end, you have to rely on caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. Do your research before you let somebody deal with your body.
Yep.
And read your contracts.
Yeah.
Don't try to talk over me. That's not possible. Your conduct is outrageous.
This is Judy Justice. Dawn Jordan, claims Megan Clincy owes for truck damages after Megan's 14-year-old son, Ajante, hit a tree while driving the truck.
Court coming to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1077, Jordan versus Clincy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Jordan.
Yes.
Let me understand what your lawsuit is about.
Okay.
You were making some baked goods for a baby shower for your son and daughter-in-law.
That's correct.
And you were doing that at their house.
That's correct.
Miss Clincy, she was there, and she was cleaning the house because in order for the house to be really fresh when the baby came home.
That's correct.
You had not met before.
No, ma'am.
That's your son.
Yes.
And your first name is?
Don Treese.
You're 16. Not quite.
14.
14. You arrived at your son's house, and you brought your 14-year-old with you.
It was extremely hot. We don't have air conditioning.
I say to my grandchildren, I'm going to say the same thing to you. Stop shaking your foot. It's making me very nervous. You can do it. I know you can do it. Because I know they do it. When I said you're shaking your foot. Anyway, you brought him along, and one of the things that you say you allowed him to do, and you've allowed him to do in the past, despite the fact that he doesn't have a driver's license, is to drive your truck.
While I'm with him, yes.
No, not while you're with him.
No, well, then that wouldn't be correct, because I've never said that.
Just a second. On this date, which was the 11th of July.
That's correct.
Your son asked you if he could drive your truck in the driveway.
That's correct.
This wasn't your house.
No.
And you were inside baking.
Yes.
Yes. And you either gave him the keys to the truck or told him where they were. Just come to yourself. He asked you if he could drive the truck.
Yes.
And you said yes.
Yes.
Despite the fact that he doesn't have a license, you said he could. Now, did you give him the keys or were the keys already in the truck?
No, I gave him the keys.
Okay. At the time, the defendant was there.
That's correct.
With her son, whose name is?
Ajante.
Who is how old?
14.
Same age?
Yes.
As your son? When you gave your son the keys to the son? Okay. But you knew he was?
In the house.
In the house?
Yes.
This is what the case is about. At some point, you stand up next to your mom. You up next to your mother. At some point, your mother gave you the keys to the truck, right?
Yes.
Now, you had driven this truck before.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where?
Well, with her, I only drive it at my brother's house, which is in the facility of the Harbor Chase area.
The what area?
Harbor Chase is in front of his house.
The parking lot in front of his house.
Yes.
It's called, the whole entire
Just a
complex
second.
is called Harbor Chase.
Just a second. I'm going to talk to him.
Okay.
So previously, you had driven the truck at your brother's house. How many times had you driven the truck at your brother's house?
It's been like 2 or 3 times.
Now, does your brother live in a private house or is it a development?
It's public.
Well, describe it to me.
It's kind of like when you drive in, then you turn right, it's a circle. It has it's 4 houses, 2 right here and 2 across. Townhouses.
Townhouses.
Yes.
How many townhouses?
That's in the dead end?
Yeah.
4.
4. And then each townhouse has a driveway.
Yes.
So when you drive the truck, you pull it out of the driveway.
Yes.
And go in the circle.
Yes.
Which is where other cars travel.
Yes. Yes.
Now, at some point in the afternoon, after you drove the truck, you had a conversation with Ajante, and you were talking to Ajante about his driving the truck.
Yes.
When you were driving the truck, you had the keys. Your mom had given you the keys. She was inside baking. Was Ajante with you?
No.
At what point did Ajante discuss with you him driving the truck?
When I had first got it and when I came back.
What do you mean when you first got it? So you drove the truck twice?
No, my mom gave me the keys, then I left. And then when I came back.
Came back where?
From driving.
Where did you go?
Into the parking lot. It was in the parking lot, in the Harbor Chase facility.
In the vicinity? I don't want you to speak to him.
Okay.
Now, we're going to get to this little circle where the 4 townhouses were. Is there a larger parking lot? Look.
No.
Well, what do you mean when you came back? What you're describing to me is a small circle with 4 townhouses. And then you said, so you took the truck out driving, and then you said you came back. That doesn't suggest to me that you were just in this little circle.
I wasn't.
I want to know where you went with the truck.
I went outside where his house was.
Just a second. You went out of where his little circle was.
Yes.
And you went to where?
Is where a road, it's kind of like a community.
So that, let's just be crystal clear. If you were standing in front of your brother's house when you were in one of these other parking lots, you couldn't see the truck.
No.
Right. Now, so you went for a ride in the other little areas, and then you came back.
Yes.
And then you saw Ajante.
Yes.
And tell me what he said to you.
Basically, he was just like this really hyper and bugging me to drive the truck.
Okay, and what did you do?
I said, okay, sure. If you know how to drive, he told me yes.
Do you hand him the keys?
No.
What did you do with the keys?
All right, so he asked me to pull up to the entrance, or like just pull up, and then, because he said he wanted somebody to see us.
Just a second. He said, pull up to the entrance because someone might see us.
Yes.
And you drove to the entrance of the complex.
Yes.
Where your mother couldn't see you from the house, from your brother's house.
Yes.
This is getting better as we proceed.
He's getting ready to venture off into a new part of his life. So this was part of his practice.
You can't make the rules. That's what you have a Department of Motor Vehicles for. Don't try to talk over me. That's not possible.
And later today.
You're supposed to be an honest business person. An honest business person doesn't overcharge somebody. Don't shake your head no. I'm telling you yes.
Mother of a 14-year-old son, Dawn Jordan, is suing Megan Clincy for truck damages caused by Megan's 14-year-old son.
Okay, he got into the driver's seat.
Yes.
The keys are in the car.
Yes.
You got into the passenger seat.
Yes.
He got into the driver's seat and proceeded to crash the truck into a tree.
Yes.
Causing damage to the truck, causing the airbags to go off.
Yes.
Shocking?
Yes.
Shocking?
Yes.
And there was damage to your car.
Yes.
Miss Jordan.
Yes.
What I'm going to say to you is taking what happened to a very bad place, which is if something happened to Ajante, something serious, his mother would sue you.
Okay.
And his mother would sue you because you put in the hands of your child a potentially dangerous instrument, knowing that he was unlicensed, driving on not your private property or your son's private property, which is what you say in your complaint. That's not private property.
Okay.
Gave him an instrument. You took keys to that instrument and handed it to him. And he, being 14, in order for you not to see him, because he's probably done other things as a 14-year-old that he doesn't want his mother to know about.
Who, Dontrice?
Yes.
Oh, no.
What do you mean, no? He
no,
said he drove the truck to the entrance so you wouldn't see him.
That is correct, but this behavior is not normal for Dontrice's behavior.
Well, it may not be normal, so what are you doing in court? I'm telling you, you gave a mechanism. Ajante's mother didn't. She didn't give him permission to have keys.
Gave him permission to drive that
car. Oh, yes. Your son did, because you...
But my child is a
just
minor.
a second. You gave your son, who has no right to be driving, keys to the car. And the reason that he can't drive a car is because the law says he's not smart enough at 14 to have a driver's license, because if he was, he would have a driver's license, but he doesn't. And that's the law. And you know the law. And you said, I don't care what the law is. Here are the keys to the truck. It's no different. In this case, it would be no different from you giving him a license, because I assume your truck is licensed.
That's
right?
Correct.
No different from you giving him a range, and he really knows how to shoot. So I'm going to give him, he wants to go out and shoot at something outside. It's private property. And he went out and had an accident because he let him hold the gun, and he got shot. What I'm saying to you is this whole thing started because you broke the law. His mother didn't break the law. His mother didn't say to him, you can drive the truck. You did. And she's not responsible for your damaged truck. You are. And he is. I mean, if you want to make your son responsible, tell him to go get a part-time job and pay you back for the truck. She's not responsible. She didn't do anything. You did. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you?
Only to a certain extent, because he was supposed to have been in the house helping her do what they were there to do, paid to do. He was doing what me and him discussed to do. He's in high school now. He's going to be taking his permit. He's getting ready to venture off into a new part of his life. So this was part of his practice.
You can't make the rules. That's what you have a Department of Motor Vehicles for. Don't try to talk over me. That's not possible.
Okay, I'm not trying to talk over you.
But what I'm telling you is the law says you cannot drive a car. Being almost graduated from medical school doesn't mean that you can perform heart surgery. That means, well, when you're finishing a residency and taking a test, because that's what you have to take in order to get a license, which he hasn't taken. He hasn't even taken the course. Your conduct is outrageous, letting a 14-year-old take a potential lethal weapon around houses where there are children, where instead of hitting a tree, which he did because he had permission to drive a truck from your agent, your 14-year-old son. He shouldn't have done it. If he wasn't a minor, if he were 20, I would say you could sue him. But his mother didn't give him permission to drive a truck. You tacitly gave him permission to drive your truck because you illegally let your son drive a truck on public road. Not your son's driveway, because that's what you intimate in here. But he took it outside of your son's circle in other places where you couldn't see him. And you have to say, that's not a terrible thing. He did what a 14-year-old does when his mother gives him the mechanism to drive a 3-ton truck. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
That boy manipulated my son into getting that truck.
Honestly, Judge Judy, I love you.
When she is talking about the law, my child is only a minor. The law does not give anyone else permission to do anything with mine.
I think the law is in place for a reason.
I don't let my son drive my car without me. That was the first time.
If you follow the law, we wouldn't be here today.
You know, Sarah, most of the time there's a reason that laws are on the books. 14-year-olds, you can see, often lack judgment. And when, as a parent, you don't recognize that they don't have the judgment, and the law doesn't give them the right, because they don't have the judgment, to have a 3-ton weapon at their disposal, which is actually what this was. She didn't get that, and yet she still, I believe, considers herself a victim rather than somebody who could have caused a great deal of damage. Anyway, that's unfortunate.
They're lucky
Yeah,
that nothing worse happened.
Yes.
Case 1084, Daniels versus Emerson. All parties, please step forward.
Hairstylist Capricia Daniels is suing her former client, Ashley Emerson, for hair extension services.
Miss Daniels,
Yes.
you own a hair shop
Yes.
where you do extensions.
Right.
The defendant was a client of yours.
Yes.
She found you online or by recommendation?
Online.
And you went in for an evaluation and for an estimate. You wanted some extensions.
Correct.
On what date did you go for the original consultation?
June 9th.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did a consultation. How long have you do?
Yes.
And she told you exactly what she wanted?
Yes.
And you're the experienced one?
Right.
Had you ever had extensions before?
No, ma'am.
So you're the experienced one. She's the novice. You looked at it and you told her how much it would cost.
Right.
And what did you tell her?
15 lock extensions at $330 for 4 hours.
No, you gave her a quote.
Yes.
Of $330.
Right.
Don't tell me for 4 hours. You didn't tell her for 4 hours. You told her $330 to give her what she wanted. I am 78 years old. I go for things all the time. The doctor doesn't say to me, this is what it's going to be and this is the number of hours it's going to take to get you to look like this. The doctor says this is what it costs, and I decide whether or not I want to do it or not. You understand what I'm saying to you? You gave her an estimate, and once the work was done, in order to be able to leave your shop, she had to pay you. And you were the scammer.
How?
You. I just told you how. If you didn't have your listening ears, and if you stopped shaking your head, maybe you could hear.
At Southern New Hampshire University, we never stop celebrating our students. From day one to graduation to your dream job. That's why we're keeping your tuition low for the 10th year in a row.
The affordability and the quality of education, it can be enough to change your life.
As a non-affordable for everyone.
Southern New Hampshire University, it was just an amazing experience.
Find your degree at snhu.edu.
Hairstylist Capricia Daniels claims her former client, Ashley Emerson, owes her for hair extension services. Ashley is countersuing for defamation of character.
Okay. You looked at her. You're the pro. You said it's going to take this much hair. You calculated it in your head, and you told her she was going to have to pay you $330. And you said okay, and you made an appointment to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you go back?
July 7th of the same year.
Because you had to order hair or product. She came back on the 7th. You did her hair. And when she got up to leave, you told her that the bill was how much?
$435.
Or an extra $105. Or a third more of what you had originally quoted her. And she was annoyed. And she questioned you as to why. You gave her an original price and you said it took longer than I expected. And according to what I read, did you tell her, this is the amount, you have to pay it? I just spoke to my husband, he's coming over. Did you say that to her?
Yeah, he picks me up from the salon.
And so you have to pay me because my husband is coming.
This is how much it is.
Is that what she said to you?
No.
What did she say to you?
She advised me that it took a little longer than expected and that her husband was on his way to come pick her up and that I need to pay her.
So what did you do?
under duress. I paid her.
And then you reversed the charges.
I contacted the police department first to tell them what to do because I told them that we agreed to this amount. I did want to make sure I did pay her, and I reversed the charges with my bank. But I did hear from Ms. Daniels after that to find out my bank and I had a miscommunication. We'll have the evidence here. They initially gave me back the money for the full amount, but I got it squared away with my bank. I made sure that I did pay her the $330 and made them reverse it for the additional $105 to be sure that she did get paid. Oh, sorry.
Did you bring your bank records?
I didn't bring my bank record, just what I had that shows that she reversed the charge.
Well, they reversed them. Everything except $105. You should have it in your bank.
I didn't get anything.
Well, I don't know whether you did or not because you don't have evidence you didn't bring your bank records.
Well, I just brought the evidence showing that she disputed the charges.
And what I'm telling you is they reversed it for all but $105.
I didn't receive anything.
Then I would suggest you go and look in your bank because she was an honest lady. She said, I'm not going to pay her anymore. So what I'm telling you is that you were wrong.
I didn't get anything.
Well, I know what you're telling me. I'm looking at this, and the bank says it reversed all but the $105 that she said you overcharged her. As a matter of fact, for me, I think in all probability, I would have just let it stand with reversing the whole thing because I think what you did as a business person is outrageous. It's no different from you take your car in to be fixed and you say, please give me an estimate, and they give you an estimate for $500, and you come back and they say, it's $750. You say, you told me $500. Well, it took longer. I found this gizmo out of line. Well, you're the expert. And this was a very easy process. It's not like an automobile where you may uncover something once you get in there. You're the expert. She's the novice. You told her $330. You charged her $405. You overcharged her.
We talked about the hourly rate as well.
Just a second. I don't believe you. That's too much flexibility on your part. And she has a counterclaim.
That's correct.
And her counterclaim is that you called her all kinds of names on the internet.
I have evidence here as well of her posting my photo and my name on social media.
May I have it, please?
I also filed a police report in reference to that as well.
I'd like to see it. On July 27th at 9:20 by you, and this was scammer alert. I'm looking for Ashley Amerson. She got extensions installed June 15th, which just took me a long time. I didn't get my money. When I called to confront her, she blamed it on a Cash App and hung up in my face. She's from LA, lives here in Bakersfield. Welcome to Bakersfield. I will get my money. Anybody who knows her, show her. And you posted her picture and a video of her. And on the side of it, you wrote, beware Ashley Amerson scammer. That was on the 27th. On the 22nd of July, the bank credited back all but $105 to you. You may not have looked at it, but it did. How many times did you post this nasty post with her information?
On Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, very good. She's got a counterclaim against you for $2,000 for defamation. I'm granting her counterclaim. When you're in business, you're supposed to be an honest business person. An honest business person doesn't overcharge somebody by a third when they're the professional, and they don't shake your head no. I'm telling you yes. I'm telling you that's what everybody who watches this is going to see. They're going to see that you, in your business, gave somebody an estimate, a novice who's never had the work done before. You've been in business for 10 years. You gave her an estimate, and once the work was done, in order to be those charges, all with the exception of $105, because she felt as if she owed you what she said she would pay you for doing that service. And you were the scammer. You, not she.
How?
You. I just told you how. If you didn't have your listening ears, if you stopped shaking your head, maybe you could hear.
Well, we discussed
judgment on the counterclaim for $2,000. Your complaint's dismissed. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
I did not get paid anything.
I feel like I did the fair thing. I paid her what she asked for up front.
It was supposed to take 4 hours. It ended up taking 6.
Put an asterisk, subject to change.
It is what it is.
If it takes a little bit longer, these are what the prices could be moving forward.
I thought that defendant was a pretty upstanding lady. She didn't want to get into an argument in the middle of the salon, so under a feeling of not wanting to be confrontational, she paid it. But I think that situations like that happen far too often, and people might just let it go and pay it, when in reality, the business owner is in the wrong.
I think that when you go and ask for an estimate, you should be able to rely on the estimate, unless there's really some unforeseen circumstance. There was no unforeseen circumstance here. This was the modus operandi of this lady. Give you an estimate, and I'll jack it up by a third. It's already done. You'll pay it and leave. And I think it's bad business. And to defame someone on the internet, which, seems to have a life of its own, dozens and dozens and dozens of times, it could really alter your life. I understand what this cyberbullying is about now. It's so terrible to see your name and see your photograph with something negative underneath it. That's not true.
Especially when you were the one that was wronged.
Right. Anyway, glad it turned.
I did.
That is ridiculous.
The whole couch did not have to be replaced.
I'm not talking to you. He's 29 years old. You got to listen to what he's saying to you. You know the truth.
This is Judy Justice. Aaron and Macaulay Davis are suing their former landlord, Helen Borland, for unused rent and a security deposit.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1137, Davis versus Borland.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Davis, is this your son?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Davis, were you the one who went to this room that the defendant was renting first?
Yes.
And when was that?
This was May 15th.
You were living with your mother at the time?
Yes.
Where?
Before
you went to her house?
Moore Park.
What in Moore Park?
We were living with my grandfather.
How long had you been living with your grandfather?
About 10 months.
Prior to that, where had your mother been living with you?
Prior to that, I lived with my mother in Palm Desert, but that was 3 years before my grandfather.
How old are you?
I am 29.
How long have you had an alcohol problem?
Since I moved into Helen's.
What's Helen's?
Helen's house.
You mean before you moved into her house, you never had an alcohol problem?
I drank, but it wasn't a problem until I moved in.
Well, let's go back. You're 29 years old. Did you graduate from college?
I graduated from San Diego State University.
When? What year?
2018.
Well, since 2008, that's 3 years ago, so it took you a little time to finish college.
Yes.
What have you been doing since 2018?
I was a graduate in Loma Linda University's Doctor of Physical Therapy program.
What happened to that?
Well, I was going through the program successfully. I wasn't drinking because it required my full mental capacity. But then I was put on a leave of absence because I made a safety mistake in the clinic. And that's when I moved into Helen's and I developed a drinking problem.
Well, you left school.
He didn't leave school. He was in his clinical rotations. And we were staying at my father's house. And we moved out into Helen's house because my dad wanted his house back to himself.
There was a reason that your father wanted his house back to himself.
It was during COVID, and
he
just wanted his space. There was no issues there. He just wanted his house back.
I'm 10 steps ahead of you. I want you to understand that. Makes sense, and then it has something that doesn't make sense. And I learned many, many years ago that if something doesn't make sense, it's usually not true.
Oh, that's the truth.
Now, well, I know that your father wanted his space back.
Yes.
That I know, that he wanted his space back. The why, well, maybe we'll figure out in this case. Now, you're not suggesting, Mr. Davis, that you started to drink heavily because you were living with her. You're not suggesting that to me.
I am.
Well, he was.
That is ridiculous, Mr. Davis. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking to you. I'm asking your 29-year-old son whether he's suggesting that moving into a room in the defendant's house was the reason he started to abuse alcohol. And he said, yes. So what date did you move into the defendant's house?
Well, I know my mom moved in May 15th. I moved in about maybe a week after that.
And the defendant has a 4-bedroom house?
4 or 5.
And there are other tenants in the rooms?
Yes.
Did you meet the other tenants?
I did.
Were they men and women?
All men.
Except for me.
Did you have conversations with them?
I did.
Before you moved in?
Not before I moved in.
Oh, right after you moved in. Is this witness one of the tenants in the house?
Yes.
Yes. When you spoke to him, did you ask him how long he'd lived in the defendant's home?
I don't believe I ever asked.
Do you know that he lived there for more than 6 months?
I assumed he lived there for a while because of the close relationship he had with Helen.
And on what date did you leave Helen's house?
It was the last week of...
I'm telling you, he's 29 years old. I don't want you to speak to him. I'm asking his questions. When I want you to speak, I'll say, I'm asking you a question. Miss Davis.
I know it was before the July 20th.
It was in July.
Yes.
So you were there at most 2 months.
Yeah.
How long did your mother stay after you left?
Maybe 15 days.
And from Helen's house, where did you go?
From Helen's house, I went to sober living because I developed a drinking problem at Helen's.
Are you still living there?
Yes. And, that's not the only reason why I moved into sober living. I really didn't want to. I moved in because I had nowhere to go when she decided that I needed to leave.
Well, on what date, Mr. Davis, did you get drunk and urinate on her couch?
I don't know the date.
Well, was it in May, June, July?
You know what? I think it was 4th of July.
Now, you didn't drink in her house. You were out all night.
That night, yeah.
And according to what I read, when you woke up in the morning, you couldn't find your phone.
Correct.
So you knocked at her door, and you said, I can't find my phone. When it was discovered that you had, in fact, fallen asleep on the couch and urinated on the couch because you were drunk.
I don't believe that's what happened. Not in my recollection.
Did you come home drunk?
I did. But
did you go to sleep on the couch?
I did.
Did you feel the couch wet when you went to look for your phone?
I don't think we were looking for my phone. What I'm saying is all that is true, but I don't think that's how I found my phone. I think she just handed the phone to me.
Possible.
Possible.
She found it in the couch, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, if you urinate on someone's couch, do you not think that it's your responsibility to replace that couch?
I think it is the responsibility of coming to a solution, and that couch could have been cleaned with chemicals.
Well, I'm thinking about common sense, Mr. Davis. And I will tell you this. If one of my grandchildren went out at night and came home, fell asleep on one of my couches or chairs, urinated on the sofa or in bed, I wouldn't have it cleaned. It's not up to me to try to somehow reduce your responsibility. Lots of things can happen to a couch. Sometimes you put your feet up on a couch and your feet will scuff a cushion. I would say you try to have that cleaned. That's common sense. This is a right and wrong. If you empty your bladder on a stranger's couch, it's not up to the stranger to mitigate your responsibility by trying to clean it with solvents and mask the smell, which will eventually come from being saturated with human urine or dog urine or anything else.
Okay.
So is she going to buy a new couch if her dog urinates on it? She's
You know,
have it
I want to tell you.
professionally
I want to tell you something. I see where he has a problem. You're not doing him any favor by your response to me because it makes you look foolish. Well, is she going to buy a new couch if her dog urinates on her couch? Her dog didn't urinate on her couch.
I didn't say the dog did.
No, I know you didn't. You asked the question. You want me to have read back to you what you said about the dog?
No.
Okay, good. Just a second. Now the real Mr. Davis is coming through. Look what happened. You just spend a little time and you can't control yourself. Spend a little time.
That's not how the silent treatment is supposed to work.
Irresistibly slow-baked, unbelievably crunchy. Make some noise. It's Snyder's.
Oh, Hanover!
Go on, get! No, I can't afford all these video games.
You can. State Farm has rates to fit your budget.
You hear that? You're coming home with me!
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Aaron and Macaulay Davis claim their former landlord, Helen Borland, owes for unused rent and a security deposit. Helen is countersuing for late fees, unpaid rent, and a couch.
If her dog urinates on her couch, it's her problem and it's her solution. And if she wants to try to have it cleaned or laundered or put in a washing machine, that's her prerogative. It's her dog.
I get that.
Just a second. You get that. But you don't have the responsibility to try to crazy glue it back together. That's not your responsibility. If you break something that belongs to somebody and render it so somebody sits on it and says, gee, this used to smell like just a couch. Now it smells like something else. That's not our job. You have to be able to say, my son made a mistake.
No, he did.
You have to be able to say, my son made a mistake.
And I did
It's
say
not
that.
just as my son made a mistake, not that he became an alcoholic living in your house for 6 weeks because you're so crazy, which is what he said to me. You got to listen to what he's saying to you because, Miss Davis, you know the truth.
I tried to reason with her.
Well, tell me how you tried to reason with her.
I sat with her and I said to her, I could have it professionally cleaned. I could replace the cushion because the cushion can be replaced. The whole couch did not have to be replaced.
How do you replace the
I thought
cushions?
that was fair.
How do you, just a second.
Or even have it reupholstered. I'm just telling you, I was trying to be reasonable with her and she was just not very reasonable.
Just as I'm trying to figure out,
Miss Davis. A price calculator and she
Miss Davis,
tried to tell me that her.
Stop. Let's start out with what you say to me, piece by piece. I tried to be reasonable with her. I offered to get her new cushions. Well, you get new cushions for a couch, that you can do, but then if the couch is upholstered, fabric is on the couch. I assume this was not a brand new couch, so it had certain fading. You may not be able to find the exact same fabric, and I will tell you from somebody who has both done reupholstery and bought things new, it's usually cheaper.
I offered
cheaper. Just a minute. No,
chair
listen to me.
for the couch.
Listen. It's usually cheaper to buy a new one than to reupholster it.
You know what?
Just a sec. That's my experience. Having been through moves and buying and reupholstery, it's usually cheaper than finding fabric, getting the fabric, getting it to a reupholsterer, moving the couch out of the house, because that requires a mover, moving the couch back into the house after it's been reupholstered. You put the whole process together and you say, I wasn't so much in love with that couch, I can buy another couch cheaper. Do you understand? So what you said to her by proposing new cushions was not reasonable. By proposing reupholstery was certainly reasonable. Had you checked out reupholstering and moving the sofa in and out of the house and reupholstering it and new cushions, had you priced that?
She wouldn't allow me because she wouldn't hear me out.
You don't have to hear her out. Did you look at it? Did you go on the internet?
Your Honor.
No, I
did you go on the internet?
No,
of course
I did not do that.
Don't speak. I'm not speaking to you. Now I'm speaking to your mother. Okay, so this is what your lawsuit. You say she kept your security deposit. That's number one. How much was your security deposit?
$1,550.
Okay, and then you say she said to you, because your son had moved out already, and she said to you, listen, either you're going to pay me for the couch or I want you out. That's what she put on your door after he had left. I'm putting the case in a Reader's Digest. That's what you say. She didn't return your deposit. You left on August 1st, and you had paid through the 15th, and you want your 15 days back because she said, I'm not paying for your couch.
I did not say that.
Well, she said, either pay for the couch or get out.
I have the document that I sent her.
Sure. Not that you sent her. I don't care about the document you sent her. I'm just looking for what you said in your answer.
No, that's not what I said. I found a calculator that prices furniture. She told me that her couch was 2 years old. She paid $2,500 for it. So I took that information, I put it into the price calculator that I have here printed, and it said that her couch was worth $675. So I was willing to give her the $675 towards the couch.
But not even that.
Just a
the
second.
couch was
Just
a piece of.
And I have.
Excuse my language.
Just a second. Now the real Mr. Davis is coming through. Look what happened. You just spend a little time, and you can't control yourself. Spend a little time. So what you think is real the moment that her sofa was 2 years old, that's what she says, and she paid $2,500 for it, that you went through a calculator to figure how much the sofa was worth 2 years later as used furniture. Just look at me. I don't need to see the calculator. I want to know if that's what you think.
I have pictures.
Just a second. I want to know if that's what you said to her, and that's what you think is reasonable.
Well, I was trying to open up a dialogue with her.
You moved out 15 days shy.
I was being harassed, and I have multiple sclerosis, and with her bullying not only myself and my son, there was 2 other guys in the house that she was bullying and kicked out, and it exacerbated my MS symptoms, and I could not take living in her house any longer.
Good. You should go back to your father.
Through the 15th.
Go back to your father.
I didn't.
Say,
I have my own place.
Good. That's what you should have.
Yes.
Your own place. And if your son lives with you, that's terrific. And if he doesn't live with you, that's also terrific. You don't get your security deposit back. And you don't get your 15 days back. I'm not interested in how miserable she was as a landlord. You have options. If she was that miserable a landlord and drove you to drink, you're 29 years old, go to a shelter. But don't deface somebody else's property and then claim it's their fault that she drove you to drink.
She shouldn't have barged into the room. She went through his mail. She came in and she would close the windows when we had them open during the day and he was in there. The room was 91 degrees. I have pictures of...
She wouldn't turn the AC on.
Yes. Very unreasonable.
You move. Just a second. Move.
Rent
It's a free country.
We were a lodger.
Just
we
a
had
second.
rights too.
It's a free country. You stay there for 2 months. You don't like it there? You know you don't. Unless she was crazy and said, I'm going to be normal for 7 weeks. On the 8th week, I'm going to go crazy. You would have known she was crazy the first week you lived there. Then you say, I'm not going to live here another month, even temporarily. So you don't get your security deposit back because she's entitled to a new couch. She doesn't have to live. That doesn't require an answer from you, Mr. Davis. You can't control yourself either. That's why he is like he is.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, you can't control yourself. That's why he is like he is. It's not her fault that your son peed on her sofa.
So, I called back. Same State Farm agent. Texted the next day. Same guy.
Is that even legal?
And get this. He remembered My name, of course.
Hey, think twice if you're in danger.
Whoa, guys. At State Farm, we actually get to know you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Aaron and Macaulay Davis are accusing their former landlord, Helen Borland, of withholding their security deposit. Helen says Macaulay urinated on her couch and owes her for the cost of a new one.
She's not required to live in a couch that you peed all over and clean it and try to sanitize it and try to make it smell different from the way it smells this week, next week, or the week after. You have to learn how to say, I got drunk, I made a fool out of myself, it's my fault. And your mother has to learn how to be able to say, he's 29 years old, and he's got to be able to say, I got drunk, I fell asleep on the couch, I urinated all over the couch, it's my fault, and I have to pay for a couch. Not a cheap couch. I did a calculation, it's only worth $600. Whatever it is, you have to own it. You're young enough to be able to own it. The defendant didn't make you drink.
What?
Defendant didn't make you drink. Maybe your mother did.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's possible. Over the years, over 29 years, maybe. But she, in 6 weeks, didn't make you the person that had to check into a rehab facility. That didn't happen, Mr. Davis. And until you start owning it and not letting your mother make excuses for you.
I wasn't.
Okay. Forget your case. No, you can't say a thing. I'm done with it. There's nothing else. You don't get your security deposit back. And all I want to see is if you have the bill from the sofa, because you have a counterclaim.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. The couch she bought was over $2,000, which is unreasonably priced compared to the couch that she lost.
I didn't ask to see a bill for the sofa that she bought. I asked to see the bill for the sofa that was 2 years old. If she has it, she has it. If she doesn't have it, she doesn't have it.
She doesn't. She told me she doesn't.
Okay. You can't control yourself either. That's why he is like he is.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, you can't control yourself. That's why he is like he is. It's not her fault that your son peed on her sofa.
I didn't say it. It is his fault.
It is 100% his fault, and it's not her fault that he had a drinking problem. He's had it for years. Do you have the bill for the sofa that was 2 years old? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Okay, and you chose another sofa.
Yes.
And you chose another sofa that was $2,500.
Approximately the same price, the similar style, same type of cushions.
Okay, well, let me see photographs of the old sofa and the one that you bought. That's all I want to see. Pictures of the old sofa and the one that you bought. If Mrs. Davis has photographs of the old sofa, I'll look at it, Kevin. And then show me. Don't show me a whole bunch of things. Just show me the things that I asked for. So this was the sofa that she put outside.
She made me carry it outside.
She made you carry it outside. You wanted her to carry it outside? She didn't pee on the sofa. You did, Mr. Davis.
Sam helped him carry it outside.
Well, I know he didn't take it out himself because it's impossible for one person to take it out. Okay, so that's the sofa. Now let me see what you purchased.
This is
photographs. I don't want to see the bill. I want to see a photograph of what you purchased. Yeah, not a big deal sofa. Not a big deal. Now I'll see the bill for it. You bought it from the store off the floor?
No, not about 8 weeks for it to get delivered.
Okay. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for $1,502. Okay? And in that $1,502 are late fees and her paying rent. And this is why, Ms. Borland, listen to me carefully, that I'm not entertaining that. Any part of your lawsuit that contains late fees, because it's your claim that she was supposed to pay every 4 weeks instead of once a month. I don't buy it. I've been a landlord, I've been a tenant. Nobody pays rent every 4 weeks. They pay rent either the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month if they don't pay every 4 weeks. And I don't care if that was your agreement with her. Do you understand? Yes. She's going to say it wasn't your agreement, and I'm going to say it doesn't make sense. The difference between the sofa and their security deposit is $1,315. Yes. And I'm entering a judgment in your favor on your counterclaim for that amount. Do you understand?
Thank you.
Your claim's dismissed. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
I tried to reason with her by having it professionally cleaned because that would have taken care of the issue. I researched that.
I didn't agree to her cleaning the couch. It couldn't be clean.
I wanted to talk to her about it, and she refused. She didn't want to hear anything I had to say, so I just couldn't talk to her about it.
And I had priced reupholstering a couple years before when I got the couch. I would have had my old couch reupholstered, but it was way more expensive.
Because she harassed us, she was a bully.
Just had surgery and I was in a walker. I don't think that I could have bullied the two of them.
She didn't want to hear anything we said.
Well, he's gone, so I didn't ask him to move. He checked into rehab.
No hard feelings. It was an experience, something I've learned from, and, I'll do things differently if I ever have to rent a room again.
I hope he gets the help he needs, and maybe her too.
I really was sympathetic with Mrs. Davis. I know it didn't look that way.
Yeah.
I know it didn't look that way. But she has this handsome, clearly bright son who I think probably has had a problem for a bit. And neither one of them have found a place. He's 29, she's in her 50s. And at her stage, to not have a place is sad because she's clearly a bright woman. And renting a room in somebody's house where it's unpleasant is clearly an unpleasant thing. But she's not helping him. You know what I mean?
Enabling.
Yeah, it's enabling him to keep up as well. I had to.
She caused me to drink. She gave me this problem. She made me carry the couch outside.
Who was supposed to carry the couch outside. So, but he actually feels that way. She made me carry the couch outside. That would be a comment that maybe a 6-year-old, a bratty 6-year-old man who's really not had to accept responsibility for whatever behavior it was. And I felt sorry for her because I had a feeling there was a piece of her that knew that he better get his life together.
Yeah. When you ingrain that lack of responsibility and you allow your child to push blame off onto anyone, even a stranger, landlord, then it's difficult to claw your way back out of that.
Yeah, but I've got to try.
Yeah.
Want justice? Go to